I believe that every movie adheres to the 29-point story structure. No matter if the writer outlines first or dives in blind, the end product follows the same 29 beats. Star Wars Attack of the Clones is my Exhibit O. I've never finished any of the Star Wars movies until this channel. Yet, social media has gifted me with limitless spoilers. Although I know some twists, these videos are compiled from my first and only viewing. This is only made possible because the 29-point story structure is predictably universal. George Lucas crafted political sci-fi dramas with clever twists and driven agendas. So far, on the surface, each one has executed according to the demands of their individual plot. Yet the overarching story beats remain the same as every movie before and since. How? Let's begin. A tight focus on the core elements of the protagonist's personality, inner conflict, and situation. Padme survives an assassination attempt, already regretting her return to the Senate. And in a full room of shifty eyes, she's placed under additional security. Obi-Wan and Anakin showcase the dynamic that they've formed over the past decade. Where, why, and how the protagonists exist in their world, with a focus on why they don't quite fit in. A schism forms between the Jedis about what is or isn't implied with their orders. Anakin struggles with the weight of being needed yet not wanted, which he takes personally, and the progress of his training isn't where Obi-Wan would like. A singular event that's never happened before and is destined to lead the protagonist away from their status quo. Anakin just barely saves Padme's life. An examination of what's different in light of the something new. What's the same in spite of it in relation to the status quo? The Jedi give chase to Padme's attempted assassin, testing the boundaries of Obi-Wan's council mandate. Anakin flexes all the ways he can outperform Obi-Wan, and they discover that the assassination runs much deeper than this lone wolf. The discovery that things are less than ideal, or an exploration of how badly things are. It's revealed that Palpatine has been infecting Anakin's mind with guidance, with pomposity, and his rage threatens to boil over even when he appears calm. Characters dedicate their effort to a specified goal, which is smaller in scope than the primary objective of the third act. Anakin and Padme set out to smuggle themselves back to Naboo, as per both their orders. Obi-Wan receives a lead on where the assassin bought its tech. A brief checklist of the story elements needed for the second act. A mysterious planet and the official denial of its existence. The emotional push and pull between Anakin and Padme, and also proper Jedi training and conduct. The singular event that launches the protagonist into the wild jungle of the second act, also called an oh shit moment. Yoda fears that a Jedi is in the middle of the assassination plot. Oh shit. Characters must learn all new rules and expectations distinct to this adventure. Even in a leadership role, Anakin must obey, and that rankles him. And Obi-Wan finds the mysterious planet and plays along with the plan already set in motion. Characters showcase their ability to grow in the areas this adventure requires, typically through external means. Anakin reads the moment and goes in for a kiss, which Padme allows until she snaps back to their dangerous situation. Obi-Wan tours the facility and secures a meeting with the clone host. Characters face legitimate and understandable reasons to deviate from their stated convictions, agendas, or desires. Anakin voices authoritarian opinions that counter his Jedi training and Padme's career. Then they catch feelings, which means they're destined to complicate their loyalties. Obi-Wan faces the man who hired the assassin, but he's surrounded by an army of cloned warriors. An escalation of problems that vex the characters. Anakin pleads and pushes and bargains for Padme to act on her feelings for him. She shrinks from his intensity, yet still stands firm against the romantic recklessness he's spouting. We find out that the Jedi Council is losing its power with the Force, and that Anakin is still haunted by the memories of his mother. Characters evolve internally by utilizing everything they've gathered and learned. Anakin abandons his post for a mission he deems of higher value, but Padme is reluctant to leave a Jedi's side, even this Jedi. Obi-Wan fails to apprehend Jango Fett and his menagerie of weapons, but manages to place a tracker. Journey-weary characters reconcile the reality of their ongoing situation with who they were in the first act. As Anakin grows comfortable in his masterless independence, he confronts the master he had even before Obi-Wan, before Qui-Gon. Obi-Wan engages in the same reckless flying he chastised Anakin for in, you guessed it, the first act. A singular event that strikes at the protagonist's core conflict. Anakin arrives where he likely would have been sold to, still in slavery, had Qui-Gon not landed here a decade before. Characters find a safe harbor that also provides needed answers for both external and internal conflicts. Anakin finds his mother's last known home, but he's a month too late for her kidnapping. He crosses Tatooine to find her. Obi-Wan stumbles onto the interweb of the assassination plot. The clarified objective is realized in part or in whole, though it's meaningless without the completion of the primary objective. Anakin is reunited with his mother only by shirking his orders repeatedly, but it only gives him a few moments before her death. Obi-Wan races to contact any Jedi at all, but discovers that Anakin isn't where he's supposed to be. An existential conflict that wounds the character's sense of self, worldly identity, or their journey. Anakin's grief and guilt eat away at him, and he dances around why. Prompted by Padme, he confesses to mass murder and dehumanizes those he feels deserve it. Then he makes his mother one more promise, the words that are destined to lead to Darth Vader. An undeniable win for the protagonist, typically in direct connection to the Rebirth. Obi-Wan debriefs the Jedi Council on his detective mission. Padme gives political cover for Anakin to technically betray a direct order from the Council and jets off to help save Obi-Wan. Then Obi-Wan is told about the existence of Darth Sidious, though he remains a skeptic. A grand loss directly connected to the character's newfound inability to quit the journey. Jar Jar Binks acts in Padme's place and blindly calls for Palpatine to take executive control of the Senate. Anakin and Padme are attacked from behind and are cut off from their escape. A thematic freefall tied directly to the heavy price. Anakin, Padme, R2-D2, and C-3PO navigate a factory from a Looney Tunes sketch. A singular event that robs the protagonist of seemingly any chance of success. Everyone is surrounded and taken at gunpoint. Characters cannot return to their starting personas and must turn to face the primary objective. Anakin and Padme join Obi-Wan for an ancient Roman execution. Characters move towards the climax while utilizing the major swings and sneaky misdirections of the story. Colonel Mace Windu and the assembled Jedi Avengers crash the execution party. Then the droid army crashes the Jedi rescue party, and Yoda with the clone army crashes the Slaughter the Jedi party. The final confrontation between the protagonist and the antagonistic force. A full-scale war rages on the planet's surface. Anakin faces a reckoning between his emotions and his duties. Then he and Obi-Wan face Count Dooku. The singular event where the protagonist finally confronts their place in the status quo. Anakin is maimed and defeated, destined to live with the pain. The direct aftermath of the climax. Yoda faces Count Dooku, saving the lives of Obi-Wan and Anakin. The consequences of the climax in relation to other characters and the status quo. Count Dooku and Darth Sidious reveal that everything pretty much transpired as they hoped, which is some wild planning. The Jedi Council weigh the prospect of Dooku's honesty against the prospect of a clone war, while Palpatine and the Senate marvel at the army they inherited from the Jedi. A tight focus on the protagonist contrasted from the opening. Anakin and Padme move forward with the relationship they previously resisted. And there you have it, my 15th example to support my argument that all movies follow the exact same story structure, regardless of how the writer approaches their craft. Attack of the Clones balances the timestamps of the sequences better than its predecessor, yet both undeniably adhere to the 29-point story structure. But does this sci-fi political drama follow the same plot beats as a darker, fish out of water version of a Fleabag meets Groundhog Day love child comedy? Yes, it arguably does. Next on my docket, Palm Springs. Please subscribe to stay up to date with this and future videos, and please like and comment with your thoughts and reactions. I'll talk at you next time.